The red light is on. What is up, everybody? We are back with another breakdown show here on Aaron the Dog MMA. I'm Aaron the Dog, and for this LFA 114 breakdown show, we are breaking down a double title headliner, Mr. Bruno Souza taking on Javier Garcia in the main event, as well as Charles Johnson. So in the co-main event, taking on Joao Camilo. So for the Flyweight Championship, interim Flyweight Championship, dogs are ready in the background. Of course, they've been sleeping the whole day, so of course they're awake. There's going to be some barking at times.
Yeah, I got mine barking too at the door. So
yeah. So how you doing?
We're in the same boat.
How you doing?
Good, man. I work today. I'm trying to get my girlfriend's car figured out. They might be calling soon, but yeah, ready to hammer out this prediction video and hopefully make some money on Friday night with all these MMA promotions going on. We got LFA, PFL, and I believe Invicta should drop odds. I don't think one championship will, but I think Invicta will.
One championship recorded weeks ago, actually. They're doing
okay.
I don't know what they're really doing, but
behind the scenes, people know, so they're not going to have odds out.
Right. But yeah, appreciate Raul stopping in. Of course, these dogs will just not stop barking now that we're recording, whatever. But we do have, it is kind of interesting. We have odds on every single fight on the card. So if you're a real degen, like more so than I am, you can go bet on the amateurs. I am not going to be, appreciate Raul. I'm not going to be betting on the amateur fights. Therefore, we're not going to be breaking down the first like 4 to 5 fights on this card. Those are amateur fights. We're going to only be breaking down the pro fights. So we're still going to break down a few on the prelims. The prelims usually are on Facebook with LFA, but LFA is very inconsistent about when they put them on or when they don't. So we might.
Yeah, most likely Facebook for sure. And if anybody does have some strong leans on those amateur prelims, hit Aaron and I up because we'd love some info on them if you have anything.
Yeah, definitely. But we'll see. I'm very excited about this card, though. I love that it's a double headliner with title fights. Yeah. I'm a huge Charles Johnson fan, particularly. And he made me a fan the best way you can by betting against him. I bet against him with Yuma. It was a very good fight, but I do think Charles won. It was a split, but I don't think it was a split. And this is, again, I believe it was a split.
Yeah, split decision, 49-45. One judge had it for Johnson, though.
Exactly. So I bet Yuma, and I did not see it that way. But very good. And then Bruno Souza, a guy who's been in the LFA for a while now. I really am impressed by him. I think he's a very good fighter. I think he could already be trying to be into UFC, whether it's through a contender series or through an opportunity. So I think he has taken his time, had a couple of bumps along the road, but either way, we'll get to all those. This is taking place in St. Louis, Missouri. So we definitely have a lot of St. Charles MMA, St. Louis gyms being represented here. But we're going to start on the second to last prelim here on the breakdown with Colin Parr taking on I believe it is a very short notice, as in this morning, the change in the opponent. But I was able to take a quick look. But Raheem Forrest, this might not be the longest breakdown here. It is taking place at 170. 24-year-old Raheem Rambo Forrest fought at welterweight in his last fight, 3-fight winning streak, including his amateurs, fighting out of Memphis, Tennessee. There's not a lot else that you're going to see. You're going to see 2 quick KOs over 2 relatively unknown guys, albeit Bubba Cruz was a 2-1 opponent. Both fights have taken place this year. They were both pretty impressive knockouts. He looks very athletic. You can quickly YouTube and watch these within about a minute because they're both at Shamrock FC. Organization we're going to see quite a bit of on the card tonight and just in general. Go to his amateur career. He definitely had used his amateur career to have a lot of losses, you could say. Several of them were ref stoppages from strikes. So I'm wondering if specifically that organization kind of had some weird type, because there's 3 in a row he has which are ref stoppages from strikes. Maybe it's just a coincidence, but kind of weird. 2 of those losses, one of those win. He's been submitted, but again, he's been pretty active since becoming an amateur back in 2016. Since going pro, undefeated, good striker. Colin Parr, on the other hand, has fought some kickboxing. He's 2-2 as an MMA fighter. He has been knocked out in kickboxing, 29 years old, known as a lightweight, so he is moving up here in weight. So that should be interesting. Last fought in January of last year as a lightweight. It was decisioned by Daniel Jefferson, and lost a split decision prior to that against Joshua Anderson, a 2-1 fighter, again at lightweight. So he's moving up in weight here. He has been knocked out in kickboxing, and the kickboxing bout was at 155 as well. So there's definitely a little bit of a worry here. He's got 1 finish by KO, 1 by armbar, both very quickly in the first round against very low-level opponents. I hate to say this on the first fight when I'm saying we're breaking it down, but I'm going to just be passing on this one. I just think that Raheem could really come in here and fight like a short-nosed opponent and catch Parr, put him away really quickly. Otherwise, Parr takes this one if it gets outside the first couple minutes, I would think. But I'm just going to avoid it. I doubt the odds will be available on it. If so, I think they'd be pretty heavy for the 2-2 Parr. But I know this is pretty late notice, short notice as well for Raheem, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Do we even have odds on this fight?
No, not as of now, but Colin Parr was against his previous opponent, a pretty decent favorite.
Okay, so yeah, I expect him to be even a heavier favorite when the odds drop. He is from St. Louis. His opponent's coming in from Memphis, Tennessee, so it's not that close, right? It's about it's like a 10-hour drive.
Probably a 10-hour drive, and most likely with LFA they are driving, so that's a good point.
Yeah, so 3 days notice. Is he fighting at his natural weight class? Let me just check. Yeah, welterweight. It is a welterweight fight, so that's good. He just fought literally 3 months ago, so he's still in fight mode.
Yeah, both his pro fights are from this year.
Yeah, he just became a professional. Colin Parr has been a professional since September 2018, so he's definitely got more experience in the game, and he's actually transitioned to kickboxing before. It was an unfortunate knockout, but at least he's trying different things.
Sure.
And I really don't have a strong read on this fight. I still have to dig in on Raheem Forrest because it was literally last second.
Yeah.
His nickname's Rambo, so I like that. Rambo Raheem Forrest. 2-0. He hasn't proved anything yet. He's lost to the same guy twice as an amateur, Khalil Boyd. He's beat the same guy twice in amateur, Coleman. And there's a lot more there. It looks like more reds than greens, so it's just hard to trust. I'm going to take the hometown fighter, like if I had to pick.
Yeah, that's fair. So we're both going to pass overall on betting this one.
That is at minus 190. I might take Colin Parr.
Yeah, I think it'll be around there. So, we'll move on to the next fight here. This is at 135 between 2 newer professionals, Ira Lukowski taking on Alex Macias, 1-0 against 1-1. This is at 135. So Ira, the American thoroughbred Lukowski, is moving down to 135. Alex Macias has been a 135er. Lukowski is 34, almost 35 years old. So definitely a late start in the game for him. Alex Macias appears to be a little younger, don't have an age on him. Last fought in June of this year, though, and faced a very good opponent in Garrett Armfield, 5-2. Very capable opponent, tough for your second go-around for sure. Both his fights were with Shamrock as well. He fought in November of 2019, getting a submission before coming back to get rear naked choked his last time out. As an amateur, was 3-0, had a knockout and a submission, albeit against an 0-15 guy and an 0-4 guy. So, and his win was over an 0-3 guy. So Alex Macias does not appear to have really tested himself too much yet, but he's taking on a 1-0 opponent, and Ira Lukowski, the American thoroughbred. Definitely looks very, very well-muscled, 5'8", 145 in his last fight out. Fighting out of St. Charles MMA, Julius Anglicus, as well as many others out of there. So definitely a good camp, good grappling, particularly. Won his debut, albeit back in February of last year, and lost both his fights as an amateur. I guess, people are maybe going to wonder why we're even breaking these two down, but I will be taking Ira. But I'm not going to be betting it too heavily. I think I'll take a look at the odds and possibly, but I'll take Ira to be able to wrestle and get a decision. That's what I expect.
Yeah, I believe we actually have odds for this fight as well.
Yep.
So that's a glass half full thing. So Ira versus Alex Macias. They're both St. Louis fighters, Missouri. Yeah, they're both from Missouri. Ira is definitely older, 34. I'm guessing Alex might be 26, 27.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to say. He's only had one fight as a professional. Alex Macias. Yeah. And he's 3-0 as an amateur, though. He's only had that one loss to the aforementioned Garrett Armfield.
Mm-hmm.
And Garrett Armfield is from Sanford MMA. He's a up-and-comer. I think he had a loss in his last fight, but he's definitely, like, those losses only make you stronger, and I'm expecting that with Alex Macias. That loss is only going to make him more experienced and more aware in his next fight here with Ira Lukowski. Ira Lukowski, there's really not much information I can find on him. He was 0-2 as an amateur, he was 1-2. I did find a win on him as an amateur on SureDog. He won that by decision, so he's never finished an opponent. So yeah, if Ira does win, it will probably be by a decision. He hasn't shown a submission or a knockout yet, but I'm leaning Alex to maybe. I don't know. He does get a lot of quick finishes. Like, he has a 12-second knockout, right?
Yeah. Albeit against a terrible opponent, but yeah.
And then if it goes to the scorecards, he has a split win. So, yeah, this is another fight. Like, it's really tough to get a gauge on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I really don't know.
Yeah, I took Ira. I got the plus 115 dog. I think he'll be a little bigger coming down. That is a challenging weight cut at 34, nearly 35 years old, however. Yeah. But I'm going to take St. Charles here.
I was slowly, starting to get confident about Alex, and then I dug into the record more, and I'm like, I just don't know.
Yeah.
It's just not a fight that I really want to take part of betting-wise. That's why we skip these amateur fights. There's no point.
Exactly. But that will move us on to our last prelim. So we're actually covering the final three prelims here. This one will be
this should be the odds for the last fight.
Plus 115 for Ira, minus 140 on Alex.
Okay, you are taking the dog.
I got the slight dog there. Next fight here is at 130. I believe it's at next fight at 125 between Dan Moriarty and Joey Scanlon. I've definitely seen the name Joey Scanlon doing homework on other fighters before. Sometimes that's a good thing. Other times it's not a good thing. With the 2 and 3 opponent, I'm going to assume it's not a great thing. Sorry about that. 1 second.
Yep. Joey Scanlon.
But yeah, sorry, Joey Scanlon, 2 and 3. Apologize for that. And
amateur record you should get to.
Yeah, I definitely have seen this guy breaking down other opponents' tape. One guy particularly where I got to watch a very short performance was against Jeff Molina off the Contender Series, and now in the UFC, doing very well with Glory MMA. Jeff Molina knocked him out in 51 seconds. He actually started out 0-3 in his pro career. He's come back and won his last two, one in 2020 with strikes, and then one in 2021 back in April with a guillotine choke. He beat an 0-1 opponent and a 1-2 opponent. As an amateur, he did have some decent guys on, the record, but had a lot of losses on there. Definitely is not a stranger to defeat. Faced Brian Ramirez a few times as a pro and an amateur and lost both times. But yeah, Joey Scanlon.
That's a very lengthy amateur career. He
Yeah,
didn't want to dip his toes in the professional realm until I guess he was comfortable.
It is lengthy, and there is losses, but 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, and then ending in 2016
altogether.
And then ending in 2016, he really was active throughout there. It's been decently active as a pro. He's won his last two. Joey is mostly looking to get in there and kind of grapple. He'll use his length in the striking, but strikes not always have the most pop on them, but 5'10" is a very, very good frame for the 125 division. Always going to give you guys challenges. It's definitely, I think, a tough puzzle for Dan Moriarty in his debut as a pro, 6-0 as an amateur. However, fighting out of Missouri as well. Last fought in December of last year, where he beat Cameron Cash. I don't recognize the names that he's fought as amateurs. And I do think he was supposed to debut back in February of this year with Nemesis Fighting Alliance. I'm not sure what happened there. I think this is going to be a challenging one for Moriarty if he's not able to use his strength in grappling. I was able to watch a couple of his amateur fights. He's kind of fights a pretty standard wrestler boxer type of approach. It's not super outstanding, has an arm triangle. I mean, for the most part, he's going to get in there, top control, cage control, and it's all about the length and distance this fight is fought at. Scanlon is also very tricky with regards to his grappling. So, another one. I'm going to go with Moriarty. It is his debut, but he does look very strong for the 125 division and a very capable wrestler, and I think his grappling should be on point. So I'm going to go with Moriarty for a successful pro debut over the 2 and 3 Scanlon. There's a lot of tape available on Scanlon too, so that's I think a decent plus for Moriarty. He should know he's getting
two guys coming from Missouri again. This is going to be a trend throughout the fight card. A lot of St. Louis, Missouri fighters. Joey Scanlon has lost a lot, man. He's won a lot as an amateur as well, but there's definitely holes in his game, and I don't think he's patched them up. I don't think he ever will. He is only 28, so I can't say that. He's only 28, so he has a lot of time to mature as a fighter still, and he could, who knows, he could be a champion next year. So, but I just don't like his amateur record being 12-11. Losing two knockouts as an amateur, one as a professional. That was to Jeff Molina, so I really don't give him too much shame in that. Jeff Molina is an up-and-comer. I could see him potentially being a top 5 flyweight down the line. So, facing that high-level competition is really good for Joey Scanlon. Dan Moriarty, I couldn't get his age. He's 5'5". Moriarty. Yep. Dan Moriarty is 6-0 as an amateur, making his professional debut. I'm not sure his age. He started as an amateur 7 years ago, so he's at least 26, 27, 28. Yeah. I don't know. They're probably around the same age. So, Dan making his debut. They both are coming off wins. Actually, Joey Scanlon.
Thanks for stopping by.
Oh, thank you, Sabrina. We have a very stacked card in LFA this week. You should really check it out if you have UFC Fight Pass for sure. Joey Scanlon, though, what do I have to say? Like, he's been there, done that. He's shown up so many times. Yeah. And I'll take Joey Scanlon as an underdog pick, maybe. I love seeing the weigh-ins.
He's a significant underdog in this fight. Minus 325 on Moriarty making his pro debut here. I'm gonna, I'm gonna ride with him. He does look pretty consistent here, and
Scanlon by submission, buddy. Let's go.
I like it. Well, Scanlon's at a plus 240 straight up, so the submission prop won't be available. But if it
will not. If it was,
yeah, it'd be pretty fat. But either way, I can definitely see Scanlon looks like he, I don't think losses are the worst thing in the world, but Scanlon's best win is over a 1-2 opponent. So taking on a 0-0 guy might be his toughest opponent to date.
No, Jeff Molina was his toughest opponent.
Well, right. Yeah,
can't
very
beat
true.
that.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
But yeah, I hear what you're saying. It's really the second.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's close, but we'll move on to the main card now. We're off of the Facebook prelims onto the main card. Unfortunately, it is a short notice switch up for Irfan Mutan Bintanovic. He's taking on William Starks now. I will be calling him William Starks. We should know who he is. I definitely know who he is because he cost me a whole bunch of money back in LFA when he faced Slava. What's his last? Slava Borshakev. That was a split decision, albeit I think William Starks very clearly won that fight against Slava. Slava was coming in very, very hyped, undefeated at the time. Team Alpha Male. I'm surprised William Starks was only a plus 135, so I was very heavily invested on Slava because I thought I just was like, oh man, minus 170 on Slava here against William Starks. Like,
you thought you were a genius. Like, I found a diamond in the rough here.
Yeah, he really did. But William Starks, after kind of a challenging first round, and particularly because he had a loss against Michael Cora early in his career where he got knocked out, I really thought Slava's stand-up in boxing was going to put him away. And props to William Stark, really tough guy.
Still really young as well.
So very young and has a ton of really good experience, particularly both as a pro and as an amateur. Has faced a 10-5 opponent in Chuko Willis. I like to see that. His last time out at UAE Warriors 15 in January of this year, he faced Abrukaman Gitsnovansov, 5-1 opponent. Went to a decision with him. It was a very good fight. I was able to watch it. It is available on YouTube. His final amateur fight was against Alex Martinez, who was a very prolific amateur fighter before going pro. He was 15-3 at the time he faced William Starks, who was 14-1 as an amateur, and William Starks won. William Starks also has a win. He actually has 2 wins over Alex Martinez as an amateur. He has a win over Benjamin Bennett, who we'll be breaking down here shortly. Really good experience. Lucas Clay, another very solid win, knocked out Lucas Clay in 9 seconds. And we've seen how good Lucas Clay is here. So his only loss as an amateur was an 18-second loss by knockout. Was knocked out once as a pro and then a decision. But other than that, very good, well-rounded, can fight both traditional as well as southpaw. Mixes it up well, taking on the 1-0-1 Bosnian Irfan Malbana Tinavinovic, the 6-foot-tall, 26-year-old Bosnian product fighting out of I forgot. I know Eric Jackson's his coach. I forgot the name of the camp though. He is coming off of a draw in May of this year against CJ Hunter, a 6-6 opponent. CJ Hunter pulled guard for the first 2 rounds, and Irfan did not know what to do. He was stuck in mission control rubber guard for the first 2 rounds against his opponent, who was a 6-6 veteran in CJ Hunter, but he could not get out of there. He was just frozen. 3rd round,
was he
finally.
Tired?
He was just no. It was it just seemed like a position he was unfamiliar with as a 1-0 opponent coming into the fight.
But he was on top. His opponent was in guard.
But his opponent was controlling. Like his opponent was controlling.
It was a Tony Ferguson type of control, or
it was mission control, and just like the rubber guard,
elbows, and
not even really just controlling him and Irfan not moving.
That doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Irfan not moving.
It seems like we would have a better chance than he did in that fight.
Well, I don't want to say that because I don't think that's true.
No, but if we started in that position.
I don't think that's true.
No,
but like
these guys are welterweights? Yeah, they're pretty big.
Yeah, second round, he almost got triangled in that same position.
Actually, this is a catchweight fight. Sorry.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. But CJ Hunter just had 12 fights versus a guy with 1 fight. So I think it was a lack of experience. His debut was against an 0-2 opponent. He does have a decent amateur career, but amateur is not pro. The amateurs he fought weren't the highest of level. And CJ Hunter, I think it was just a lack of experience being put in a spot he wasn't put in. To put this short, I think William Starks on short notice is a tremendously tough draw for Irfan to get here. William Starks, I'm sure, coming off of that disappointing decision, has been ready to get back in there. It is a catchweight at 163. Starks usually a lightweight, so this should be an okay cut. As long as Starks looks healthy on the scales, I like him quite a bit in this position coming in on short notice. I just think overall he has the better experience. He's beat the better level of competition. Irfan's definitely shown a little bit of a propensity to freeze up at times in there, and I think William Starks can put him in some positions to where he can control it. So I like William Starks on short notice here. I think it's a tougher opponent for Irfan, and that's my view.
Yeah, I think I'm on Starks as well. We both have to hope that he's at least been training on his off season. He's got to be ready to go here.
Yeah, he just fought in UAE, which is a great organization, by the way. UAE, he fought in it was in January of this year. So we don't know for sure. That is an X factor.
So he's 5-1, William Starks, at this point?
5-2 now.
Oh, he lost. So he's 4-2. Sorry.
Yeah, 4-2 as a pro, 14-1 as an amateur.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't have time to. I do have William Starks researched, but I didn't realize he fought outside of LFA since December. That's when he last fought in LFA. So, yeah, he did succumb to a loss. Was it to a formidable opponent at all, or was it a
5-1 opponent? Very solid guy. I mean, UAE doesn't have a lot of bad fighters in general, so it was
the Middle East.
Yes.
Yeah. So
it was a good competitive fight against a 5-1 guy. We don't know how good he is yet, but it could be a win that just ages very well, to be honest.
Yeah, and Irfan is making his LFA debut. He was 6-1 as an amateur. He's 1-0-1 as a professional, having that draw to CJ Hunter. CJ Hunter is definitely a pioneer in the sport. I know a lot of people don't know about him, but he's paid his dues.
Yep.
Both guys are from Missouri, another dual Missouri package we got going. I think William Starks, he's definitely a dangerous opponent here. Like you said, he just fought in the Middle East, so I am kind of worried about maybe the I don't know how long ago we traveled back. Was it a couple months ago?
Yeah. I mean, it was in January he was there, so he's been back for plenty of time.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, so he's definitely ready to go, in my opinion. I gotta do a little more research, and I also don't think we even have odds for this fight.
Right. So we'll just go ahead and move on, but we're both leaning towards William Starks. And I think the odds will too, even on short notice.
I think I was gonna lean Irfan in his original matchup against DiMaggio Smith.
Yeah, I was actually leaning towards Maggio myself.
Oh, okay.
DiMaggio. So next fight here, taking place on the main card, is at 170 pounds between Elmer Umarov.
Yep.
Elmer Umarov.
Oh, I remember Bunny always saying if a name ends with an OV, you gotta bet them.
Yeah,
bet them.
But we don't have an OV in Benjamin Bennett, who he's taking on here. The Russian versus the St. Louis product, fighting out of Team Elevation, while the Russian is actually fighting out of St. Charles. So Benjamin Alaska Bennett is the first fighter we'll be breaking down here. 2-0 Team Elevation representative, very good camp. Love to see it. 13 fight win streak when you combine his pro and amateur career. Coming off of a late choke finish against Jeremiah Curtwright in his last fight for Nemesis in October of last year. Jeremiah Curtwright was enormous. Looked so big for that weight class. And albeit he was 0-1, I think Benjamin Bennett really showed intelligent striking, good grappling, wore him down, and got him into the choke in the third round to win it. Had a doctor stoppage in his brave CF debut against an 0-2 opponent. Was supposed to face Kazamat, actually, but Kazamat, I believe, got called up to the UFC before this fight. Benjamin Bennett also took a boxing bout. As an amateur, we see a lot of decisions, a couple strike finishes. Lost to Alex Martinez by a split decision. So another guy who's faced Alex Martinez also lost to William Starks, as I said, and also lost to Brendan Allen. So some very good opponents as an amateur, but has a few losses there. But it looks like he's developed a overall MMA game really nicely as he's advanced in his career, going from just mostly a striker to an overall MMA grappler. In his last fight, getting the submission. Elmar Umarov, definitely coming into this fight 3-0, 5'10", 69.5-inch reach. So I believe he has a 4-inch reach disadvantage coming into this fight. Mike Rogers is his head coach with St. Charles MMA.
Just turned 26.
Yep, just turned 26, 3-0, second LFA fight coming in here. Finished his first with punches and elbows in the first round back in March over 1-1 Cody King. A fight that I thought was, interesting was the Abraham Campos fight. That was a 1-4 fighter for his debut. He actually got taken down and showed very good hips from the bottom. Got an arm bar on Adrian Campos. Got a guillotine in his second fight. So it looks like the overall game is there for Umarov. Benjamin Bennett, another very tough opponent. I think this is going to be a really good fight. I think this could be a potential fight of the night. These guys are going to be very well matched. I really like Benjamin Bennett, though, coming on to Team Elevation. I like what I was able to see in the last fight. I get it was against an 0-1 opponent, but that was a very quality 0-1 opponent, in my opinion, in Curtwright. You can go watch the fight, almost 15 minutes, and to have the ability to finish at the end of the 15, very impressive to me. Had good overall striking and grappling. So I'm going to go with Bennett, and I anticipate Bennett will be an underdog just based on the names. So what are your thoughts on this one? I think this is a great fight.
We do have odds already, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Benjamin Bennett is another guy that went overseas to Brave and actually picked up a victory.
Was supposed to face Kazamat.
Yeah, Sebastian Kozak.
He was supposed to face Kazamat Chimaev, I mean.
Oh, he was supposed. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, you said that already.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hamza Chimaev. So yeah, he dodged a bullet there. Let's just say that, and he picked up a doctor stoppage win versus Sebastian Kozak, who came in short notice, obviously.
Yep.
He got that Dars choke, which I love. That's one of my favorite submissions. So if you have a Dars, I'm going to be a fan. I don't care if you even have one Dars on your record. It's one of my favorites, especially against formidable wrestlers. That's that's their kryptonite. Those Dars chokes. So Elmer Umarov, just based off his name, I know he's a wrestler. He's got to be a Dagestani, some sort of living in the forest, wrestling bears. I don't know, but he's in that area, or he was born in Russia, but he's fighting out of. Guess where he's fighting out of, Aaron?
St. Charles.
St. Charles and St. Louis, Missouri. Every single this crowd, it's going to be hyped. Every single fight, they're going to go crazy because they don't even know who to root for. Everybody's a home crowd favorite. So I hope they have fans.
And then the other guy is from Missouri, and he's training at Team Elevation. So go figure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, another dual package of Missouri, St. Louis guys. So
Yep.
yeah, if there is a crowd, they're going to be hyped. I'm going to be watching dual screens. I'll be watching my laptop with PFL, LFA on the TV. So it's going to be a good night. This fight, man, it's so hard to pick against Elmer, but if the odds are right, I would take a stab at Benjamin.
Yeah, the odds are ahead of the game here. I really thought they were going to see the OV and just kind of ship it and just assume that the Alaska product. But Benjamin is only a plus 110 underdog right now.
Oh, wow.
I think that they see the experience on his record. He's faced a very high level of opponent. The guys he's lost to are all very good. And Umarov has been in a couple bad positions, and not in his LFA debut. His LFA debut went perfect, but there's been a couple fights where you've seen some positions not so great. Being taken down by Abraham Campos and put into a bad position is not, the best way, but also he rebounded strongly from that. And that was 4 years ago, I believe. So I'm taking a shot on Benjamin. I thought I was being smart. The odds are kind of keeping this one very close. I think it's a potential fight of the night, though, for the 170 division.
Elmer is riding a 10-fight win streak. If you combine his amateur and professional career,
that's
a lot of momentum, man, and that goes a long way in MMA. But at the same time, Benjamin's undefeated as a professional as well. Actually, he might be riding a longer win streak. 1, 2, 3, 4,
13
5, 6,
fights.
7, 8.
13 fight win streak.
Yeah, so the odds makers know what they're doing. I might throw the underdog in a couple parlays, but it's a tough one to get a good read on.
Yeah, I'm combining experience. I really like Team Elevation here, but should be a good one.
Austin Hubbard did lose last week.
Yeah. I mean, every camp has losers most weeks. The bigger camps, but moving on here.
We don't have to talk about that.
Yeah, it's okay. Moving on here to the next fight here, Dwayne Diggs versus Joseph Holmes. This is at a catch weight of 200 pounds. But I really like Joseph Holmes, what I've been able to see out of him. This guy is a legit prospect for I think middleweight division is where he'll find his home, but I'm assuming this fight was put together a little bit short notice because both these middleweights agreed to the 200-pound catch weight. But Dwayne Diggs has fought at heavyweight as well. 33 years old for Dwayne Diggs. Joseph Holmes, I think, is in his mid-20s, but don't see the age here. But Joseph Holmes, known as Ugly Man, very nice nickname.
25
years old. 4-1 on a 4-fight win streak, 6'4", 79.5-inch reach. Got those John Jones numbers. Started out I watched his professional debut live. That was against Jordan Newman. Very, very good wrestler with Bellator. The only guy Jordan Newman has been unable to finish so far. And that was a very close fight as well. Jordan Newman just kind of overwhelmed with the wrestling to a certain extent. Then Mr. Holmes was able to come back, get a Bellator win over Kona Oliveira by rear naked choke. Has gone on to face Tyler Jones, 6-8 opponent, got guillotined very quickly. Beat Ryan Lenninger with a nice knees in his LFA debut. Went over to XKO, got a rear naked choke win as well as a decision in a Muay Thai bout. Joseph Holmes looks the real deal, undefeated as an amateur as well. Got a couple submission victories along with a punch victory. I just think he's very well-rounded, very athletic. Unfortunately, he was supposed to face Roland Dunlap back at LFA 110. I'm not sure what happened with that fight. That would have been a great fight, though. Roland Dunlap's looked really strong from the wrestling, so it would have been interesting. But Dwayne Diggs, 3-2, fought Shamrock FC, won his last fight out, but that was back in September of 2019, 33 years old now. He faced Lucas Lopez, beat him by knockout. It was a 210 catchweight bout. He's now at 200 catchweight bout. 2 losses before that. One was to Adam Sella inside of Bellator at a 189 catchweight where he got knocked out. This guy just loves catchweights. And then finally got rear naked choked as a middleweight. He also has a win over Kyle Walker. It was on the regional scene, not a great guy. Joseph Holmes runs through this guy and puts him away. I'll say with strikes.
Yeah, I'm definitely on Holmes as well. This is not a short notice fight. These guys have had maybe like a month to prepare, maybe a month and a half. Joseph Holmes has just proved more, in my opinion. He's been there. He's a very long and lanky fighter. I know everybody loves to hear that. Long and lanky. That's definitely fits his bill. 6'4", 79-inch reach. Dwayne Diggs. I have 6 feet. I was not able to get his reach, but he's 4 inches shorter. So I'm gonna guess his reach advantage 6 or 7 inches. Reach disadvantage. Dwayne Diggs 3-2 as a professional. Joseph Holmes 4-1. So they both have similar experience, but I think Joseph Holmes has just faced the better competition at this point. He's younger, 8 years younger. He's got a lot more potential. I was really hoping to get him on the podcast or the video today, but he was traveling. He had to travel today.
Don't call him out. Just like, yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, it sucks, but yeah. Maybe I told him once you get this victory, maybe we can recap your fight. He said, "Yeah, man."
Yeah, sure.
So
I mean,
obviously,
yeah, things happen.
I'm going Joseph Holmes all day. I don't know the odds. I came into this video without knowing the odds, so it kind of be like a surprise. But I'm guessing Holmes. Let me just guess. He's about a -210,
-270, +230.
Maybe money went in on him. Yeah.
Yeah, the odds came out early for this LFA, and they seem to be pretty spot on with this one particularly. I think I like Holmes in some parlays. I like pairing him up with the winner of this next fight here for sure because we've got another Anthony Garrett fight to break down, ladies and gentlemen. Heavyweight versus Jimmy Lewis. Anthony Garrett, every single fight he comes into, he's got a different hairstyle and looks like a different human being, but always kind of fights the same way a little bit.
Like Marlon Vera.
Yeah, it's a little bit wild. Taking on Jimmy Lawson. I might have said Jimmy Lewis, but I'll be breaking down to 2-1 Jimmy Lawson. First off, AKA. You could see back in the day he used to train quite a bit with Daniel Cormier there. So definitely a good guy to learn under as you're raising the ranks. Known as a wrestler here. 2-fight win streak, lost his debut to Saeed Salma. Had no amateur experience, just went right into being a pro and had Saeed Salma as his first fight. And lost by decision. Lost by a decision. So no shame in that at all. Was supposed to. Yeah.
It was 29-28. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was a very close fight, and Saeed's gone on to show he's very good. Jorgen De Castro he's supposed to face, but Lawson lost his Titan bout, so he didn't make it onto the Contender Series. It was kind of weird. Like he had a setup of the Contender Series with basically you win this fight, you get on the Contender Series. Lost that chance. Went on to get a KO and a punch finish in 2019 over Edwin Smart and Justin Ruchwini. He was going to fight Edwin Smart again for some reason in February of last year. Didn't. He hasn't fought since November of 2019. Coming in facing Anthony Garrett Lionheart. I questioned that nickname a little bit, but it's not mine to question, I guess. 31 years old, 6'5", 80-inch reach for the Kansas City product. Coming off of a loss in the LFA to Jordan Heiderman. That was a fight I actually came into picking Garrett. I thought he was going to be able to keep Heiderman from wrestling and taking him down, and right away went down on the first takedown. Seemed to be very little takedown defense from Anthony Garrett overall. It seems to be a big weakness for him. He was knocked out by a 6-11 opponent in Jordan Mitchell. Against Jake Hager, Hager was controlling the cage, getting ready for a takedown, and actually landed a slight knee to the groin, and Garrett took the way out.
But his nickname's Lionheart.
Yeah, and then also lost in 20 seconds to 3-6 Matt Udi, who's known for his grappling. So there's just not a lot I really like here. I think there's grappling issues and potential chin issues. This is Jimmy Lawson all day.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah,
really
I
glad.
Yeah, James Lawson goes as Jimmy Lawson as well. I think he'll either knock him out or be able to wrestle him for 15 minutes. But I like Lawson wherever it's at.
Yeah, I wasn't able to find his age. Were you able to?
I mean, he's probably in his late 20s, but yeah, I would think 28 or so.
Yeah. So yeah, he definitely has a long career ahead of him. And like you said, he got thrown to the wolves in his MMA debut. I believe Saeed Soma had like 5 fights before that.
Well, he's 1-1 as a pro.
Oh, he was only 1-1.
Yeah.
Okay, and then obviously he had no fights as a professional, but still, we saw how Saeed Soma has looked throughout his career. That's a loss that's only gaining more notoriety, and Jimmy Lawson is definitely a blue chip prospect in my opinion. He last weighed in at 258, so he is pretty heavy for the heavyweight weight class. Anthony Garrett too. I think he might have to drop. He might have to lose weight. Or no, he's only 244. He's going to be smaller.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be smaller than Jimmy Lawson. Jimmy Lawson, his wrestling and grappling is just leaps and bounds ahead of Anthony Garrett's level of wrestling and grappling. So if Jimmy Lawson just sticks to his bread and butter, it should be an easy win. Unanimous decision or ground and pound.
Yep. All right.
Let's get it. Yeah, I don't even know the odds. Are they okay? Like,
I'm pretty sure they're pretty heavy. They should be pretty heavy with Lawson, minus 320, plus 260 on Garrett. So I don't love it. I don't love it, but you can work it into an even parlay with. I honestly think I think that starting with Holmes, adding Lawson, and then the winner of my flyweight title bout, I would put those 3 together and feel pretty confident, and that will be about plus 170, plus 200, I would think.
Yeah.
So
even Holmes and Lawson is a
Holmes
good
and Lawson should be close to even, and then I do have a pretty strong lead here in the flyweight championship bout.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and jump into that. It's kind of interesting because it's always interesting when one of my more confident picks is a guy I picked against in his last fight. But that's where we're at with this one. Charles Johnson taking on Joao Camilo. I thought this was just for the flyweight title in general, but it's actually for the interim flyweight title. I thought Charles Johnson
defending his interim flyweight title.
So it's still an interim flyweight title, even though he already won it.
Well, unless he's going to win 2. He'll either win 2
isn't the flyweight champion Untitled Marino getting ready to fight in the Contender Series?
Yeah, they really should have just made this the official flyweight championship for LFA.
Maybe they will after he wins tonight, because I'm pretty sure Vitor Alto Marino is going to the Contender Series in a couple weeks. But Joao Camilo versus Charles Johnson for the interim flyweight LFA flyweight championship, 9-2 versus the 7-4 Brazilian. 29 years old, turning 30. Looks like next week for the Brazilian here, Nova Union Garcia. I'm not sure if that's different than Nova Union, but I believe it is. Maybe a smaller Nova Union. But Joao Camilo, I will be breaking down first here. 7-4. He's alternated wins and losses in his last couple for the 29-year-old. 5-6 Brazilian here. Going down here. He's been in combate for a little while now. Very good. Actually lost to Victor Alto Mariano over there by a decision. Yep. He lost in the LFA to him, actually. So he has fought in the LFA previously. Had a win over Ivan Lopez, a 14-4 opponent in his last fight out back in May of this year. So that's a very good win. A guy with actually more experience than Charles Johnson. And it was at flyweight. Before that, had a split decision, lost to Daniel Barres. This is why it's very important to go back and watch fights and not just assume this was a close fight. Daniel Barres clearly won this fight 2-1. I sincerely believe the scorecards were misread to where one score was read for Joao, because I do not know how anybody could have scored that for Joao. It was a very clear 2-1 for Barres. Barres got into some very good positions, won In the first round, Joao was able to initiate some grappling, though, and get Barras down. But when Barras initiated the grappling and got on top, Joao struggled quite a bit. There's been a few fights now where Zhao's been caught in some Darce type of chokes and just like longer chokes. I do think that's a choke that could be a strength for Charles Johnson in defending the takedowns with his longer length, longer arms, and his overall jiu-jitsu game. I think that could be open. I also think on the feet, Charles Johnson's going to have a huge advantage in this one. We see a lot of decisions on the record for Joao. We see a few submissions, and but over very low level of opponents. Hasn't faced the best level of opponent. When he faced Victor Altamirano, Victor did win all 3 rounds in that fight. It was pretty open and shut case. The Daniel Barras fight says it's a split. Again, I don't believe it was. I think Barras won that clear 2 rounds to 1. But yeah, there's a lot to like about Joao. I just think this might be a little bit too much here, taking on Charles Johnson. InnerG, he has so many nicknames, I'll go through them all. But he's fought Tiger Muay Thai before. He hasn't been over there for a little while, but he actually won the Tiger Muay Thai scholarship to go over there. Last fought in July of this year against Yuma Horaruchi. It was a split decision. It was a very close competitive fight. I did have it for Charles Johnson, though. But it was a close one. Carly Pangilian, he did have an anaconda choke in that fight, so he has shown the ability to have those longer north-south type of chokes. I like to see that because I do think that's something that Joao has shown in several fights. He puts himself in a kind of bad position. His last loss was to Brandon Royval. No shame in that at all. And Sean Santella, a 19-6 opponent. So he's faced very good level of opponents. He's really smooth on the feet. Good grappling to above average with the takedown defense, and the movement, size, stand up. Charles Johnson, I'm pretty confident in this one. I just think that this is a little bit too much too soon. 5 rounds, it's going to be a lot for Joao to take on short notice.
Yeah, it'd be awesome to get Julius on here because he probably has some inside information on Charles Johnson. Since they train together, they probably get rounds in maybe, or they obviously see each other on a daily occasion. But yeah, I'm pretty high on Charles Johnson, but with these Brazilians, it's very hard to just dismiss them. Like we saw last week with Bea and Josiane Nunes. Josiane Nunes just came out like a bat out of hell and looked like a mini Mike Tyson. And I know Joao Camilo can possess that kind of danger, especially with the submissions. He's got a guillotine choke over an up-and-coming prospect in Jamie Alvarez in Cambache. He's beaten Albert Trujillo. That's the UFC guy's brother, Albert Trujillo.
Abel Trujillo.
Abel Trujillo's brother, yeah. So he's got a win over him as well. He's only lost I know this name, Rafael Montini. I know he's not the best competitor, but all these Brazilians have so much more to fight for. They come from a more poverty country,
sure,
and they have more to fight for sure. Like,
Charles Johnson has quite a bit to fight for too. I don't think he's great off, and he's 30 years old. He's had a pretty important fight in his career to make that. He's trying to make that run towards the top. So
yeah,
I don't know if I buy the desperation angle here, but
I always like to see the weigh-ins as well, and the losses that Charles Johnson has are very notable. Brandon Royval, he actually sold a round off of, and we all know how Brandon Royval fights. He's just a Tasmanian devil for 15 minutes. He'll just come at you in your face for 15 out of the 15 minutes. And he was able to steal a round off Brandon Royval. So that says a lot. And that was 3 years ago. So he's only going to be advancing as a competitor. And he has had a few boxing fights. He did lose 2 out of the 3, but the two he lost, he didn't get knocked out. They went the distance, so that's a lot of ring time. And his last fight, I don't know what the judges were watching, but it should have been a unanimous. So yeah, Joao Camilo. I mean, Charles Johnson is a great champion. He holds the belt already, but Joao Camilo is definitely a formidable opponent, and it's hard to count him out. So it's going to be a good scrap. I'm really excited for this fight, especially with flyweights. A lot of high variance happens.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've really just continued to like what I've been seeing Charles Johnson.
Me too.
He's really focused here, and I like that he's in a lot of different camps. Going over to the odds really quickly. Let me just take a look real quick. We got Charles Johnson at a minus 300. That's what I was afraid of. Plus 220 on Joao Camilo.
See, that's what I mean. I like betting people straight, and you can't bet that straight.
So. Yeah, I can't bet that straight, but I'm going to put him with my last three picks of Mr. Lawson and Mr. Holmes and Mr. Johnson to get me a plus 200, hopefully, or so parlay piece. But, definitely you got to take some risks at some points. So it is a three-piece that will be a little bit.
Plus 230, you said?
Yeah, Camilo's plus 220. I'm probably going to get a little heavier if I had to guess. But, this is a pretty good time to actually bring on our guest. We're going to just see if he needs to take a minute to get ready. But, we're going to take a pause before the main event here, actually. And
Charles Johnson, right?
Yep, Mr. Charles Johnson. Looks like he's joining us. Let me go ahead and take away our picks. We'll be back with the main event in a moment. Again, I'll have timestamps there for everybody. But Mr. Charles Johnson, how you doing, sir? We'll see if we can get him with us or not. Charles, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. How you doing, sir?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Doing great. Thank you so much for coming on to the channel. Aaron the Dog MMA here. We actually just finished breaking down your fight, my friend. What's your
nice.
what's your thoughts on your we'll get the basic question out of the way first. What's your thoughts on your opponent coming up here on Friday, Mr. Joao Camilo? Having a little trouble hearing you now.
He might be flying.
Yep. Just having a little trouble hearing you, Charles. Not sure if you're talking or not.
We should try to get the video.
Tough guy who takes fights with short notice and always. Yep. Yeah, I'm kind of like in between.
It's all good.
Hello.
Yep.
All right. He's a good opponent that he comes from a jiu-jitsu background, so he's always in a fight. And he'll take fights short notice, but he's always there, and he doesn't get finished because he's tough. So I know he'll be a game opponent, and just the type of guy I need in there to defend my belt.
Yeah. Really great fight last time out against Yuma, by the way. I did not see it as a split decision. I had it scored at 49-45. So a little confused as to where the split came from, but that will happen at times. Are you looking forward to the opportunity to kind of push this fight into the championship rounds, or is this one that you're looking to more show off that finishing ability more early on? One thing I have noticed with Joao watching some of his tape is that he does leave his neck a little bit exposed at times when going for his grappling, for darces, anacondas, things that I think that your frame and your fighting style is kind of made for. You notice those kind of holes in the game.
Yeah, he leaves it open, but he also does a really good job of defending them once he gets there, because there's been a couple occasions where he's fought really good guys like Sambo champion and Jamie Alvarez, who had him deep in those positions, and they weren't able to finish him because he does a good job defending. I think it's a part of his game. He's comfortable there. He knows how to defend it. So it's not anything. It's a part of my game that I'm good at, but I'm not going to force anything in there. I'm gonna take what comes to me. If he presents
I love that answer.
itself, I may use a knockout. It's gonna go in there, set the tone. If the opportunity to knock him out presents itself early, then that's gonna happen. But just make everything happen organically, and I feel like this fight is goes my way regardless.
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming on here, and thank you for working through us with the Wi-Fi or the internet where you're at. And I didn't mean to kind of cut you off at any points there, but we're hearing you great here, and like again, joining us on a championship fight week. We're very humbled to have you joining us. And it means a lot. Really have become a huge fan of how you fight. I think that you've taken just so much that you've learned from your camps and been able to keep it moving. I know with COVID being shut down, Tiger Muay Thai has not been available. Is Tiger Muay Thai an option for you in the future once the world
Oh yeah,
returns to normal?
that's home, man. That's my second home.
Yeah.
Once the world opens back up, I'll be in between the U.S. and Thailand for sure. Especially during the winter months. I'm not gonna be in Michigan, man. I'm not gonna be in St. Louis. Fuck that. I'm gonna be. I'm gonna make sure I'm out trying to get out to Thailand, especially during the winter months, so I can train year round the way I want to train and eat the way I want to eat. And I'll have But the first goal was, when I left Tiger, I said I'm going back to the U.S. and I'm not coming back until I'm in the UFC. So that's why I'm pressing for these fights. I'm pressing to get these wins, keep building these wins till there's no choice but them to pull me up.
Do you hit up Mike Swick as well in Thailand? Mike Swick's camp?
Yeah, he coaches AKA. I went out there and I sparred with Manel Kopp. He's in the UFC now. I sparred with him a couple times, and he runs his camp a little bit different. He's not a big fan of Tiger Muay Thai. He looks at it like a McDonald's gym. But Tiger's got a lot of, great people who come through it. So it's just not his way. He built up everything from the ground at AKA. So it's kind of like he feels how he feels, which I respect.
But Mike's more of an individuality approach.
And he's a good guy. He's just about his gym, and he wants the guys to come and train at AKA. So I have no problem with that.
And have you been getting rounds in with Piotr Jan or Brad Riddell? Charles?
Just going through a little bit of looks like a little bit of another patch with the internet. Just letting you know,
turbulence. Yep. Might be hitting turbulence.
Oh, we don't know. I mean,
are you there, buddy?
It's okay. You're just breaking up a little bit, Charles. So we'll just keep kind of listening.
Right. Yeah.
There we go. Good. Yep, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah. All right, so I trained with Peter Yan for 2 of his camps. I was like his main training partner, main sparring partner for his Uriah Faber camp and for his Jose Aldo fight.
Nice.
And then as well with Brad Riddell, when he was able to get out in between, because they would. So with him and Alex Volkanovski and all those guys from City Kickboxing, since they did the tryouts years ago, what they do is they come out at the beginning of their fight camps for like the first 2-3 weeks just to start their camps and put themselves and their body in the right mode, and then they go back home and do the most of their camp at City Kickboxing. So when they do come out, it's a good time. They'll run classes, they'll train with us. It's like the start of a camp. And all those guys are willing to help. That's what's great about those guys. Alex Volkanovski and Brad Riddell. There's like
that's the highest caliber of fighters you can speak about.
Yeah, they're great. They're great guys. They want to help. Like me, the first time I met Volk, we played around in the practice room, but after practice, we were at the calf and standing in line, and I asked him, I was like, "Yo, can I talk to you for a while? You mind if I sit with you?" And we sat down and we talked for like 45 minutes to an hour because he had did the tryouts in 2014. And so he just, he was cool, like just chill, man. It was nothing big about it, just normal down to earth person. So it was cool. I haven't had that type of talk with Brad, but Brad's cool too. You know, if he's in the practice room with you and you ask a question, he'll help out. So it's great. But you know, my guy, Rafa Fitz, like he's in there doing his thing right now in the UFC.
Fizzy.
So like he ran like our striking classes like on Tuesdays and stuff like that. So and some days it wouldn't be hardly many people in there, especially once COVID hit. So like it's like getting a personal one-on-one, you know. It's like who better to get a personal one-on-one with, you know. So like I just really appreciate that time that I had there.
Yeah, that's amazing. This is all really great stuff to hear. And I've talked with King Casey O'Neill, another Tiger Muay Thai rep, who's been kept away, and I think it's turning
me as well.
I think it's turning y'all into monsters, not being able to go back to Tiger Muay Thai. You all want to get back there so bad, but in the meantime, you're family, like, man. Well, let's all just take care of business over here in the States and go party back in Thailand when the world, not even party, go back to Thailand.
It's just so much cheaper to live there.
Hang on, Brandon, hang on. Yeah, like what is that? How is that motivation? Because it's like being kept away from your home, but you're not gonna. You might as well not waste that time, and you're going all over the place to different camps. There's so many of your people you've trained with who are in the other organizations. Also, being an LFA Flyweight champion, you look at the list of LFA Flyweight champions, and they've gone on to the UFC, and they've done big things in the UFC. So I do anticipate after this fight that being a destination if it's an option you want to take. And I look forward to it for one main reason, because I want to see you in that big octagon. I love seeing you in this LFA cage, but it is a little bit smaller than what you're going to be at in the big leagues. And I love what you're able to do with your movement and your distance and striking within the LFA cage. I think it's only going to improve as the cage expands. What are your kind of thoughts on that? Am I overblowing that out of proportion as a non-fighter here?
No, it's about 2.5 paces in that LFA octagon, and it's quick to that cage. So and a couple of times I've tripped my foot on the cage in a couple of, like my last 2 fights. But you know, it is what it is. You know, like I make most advantage use of my space. You know, so
I mean I really commend you as a taller fighter to not allowing that to get in the way of your performances. It's making you better. I think
it's forcing me to fight a fight that I want to fight anyway, which is I want to get I've been working on moving forward a little bit more, putting my foot down. Like when I fought Carly Pandillan, like I put my foot down a little bit more and I started coming forward and popping them.
I love that Carly fight too. I really respect Carly as an opponent too. That was extremely impressive performance there.
Yeah, and then with like the Yuma fight, it's just a bunch of him moving away or me moving away. So it was a little. I wish the cage was a little bit smaller for that fight.
Interesting. Yeah, it's funny. That's a game of MMA for you right there. Thank you so much.
He played a big touch game where he was just touching, not really touching he was just touching the point. He wasn't touching to like fight me, No,
so, he was trying to win he was trying to get out of there, sneak out of there, but I again had that 49-46. Is what I had it. I think sometimes that when there's a large expectation on the heavy favorite, which you were in that fight, and it gets close, I think sometimes that causes judges to skew what they're seeing a little bit and be like, oh, I was expecting to go in there and just put on a clinic, and it's close. Even if you're winning close, you're still winning.
I think people forget about expectation. Like that's what I felt too. I was like, I don't think this guy won this fight at all. But like at the same time, when they judge it for him, I'm like, I don't know what I can take giving him one round, but like when you rewatch when I rewatched the fight. When I rewatched the fight, I felt like I won 4 out of 5 when I rewatched the fight, and then when I fought that night, I actually thought I won 3 rounds to 2. But then after watching it, I was like, I run 4 rounds of these 5 rounds.
I think even as a fighter, you had that kind of drop in your expectation when it was close to be like, oh, it's 3-2. And
Yeah.
the judges who know even less, unfortunately, and have so much in their hands, I do believe were like, oh, he put on such a clinic at the beginning. What happened? And
He
then
didn't do
kind of
shit though.
right.
He
No,
didn't
I
do
understand, Charles.
Yeah.
Charles, I understand. And
Yeah.
I'll be candid here. I was taking a shot on the underdog that night in Yuma. And so
Yeah.
I even bet Yuma, and I didn't see it for Yuma, Charles. So, and the
Yeah.
best way that I become a fan of someone is when I bet against them and they prove me wrong. So after that, I was like, shit, Charles is that dude.
Yep.
I do think that you have to be aware of that with this fight again, though. We've seen in
sure.
other organizations, we just saw Clay Collard lose to Rafael Manfio, who was just Manfio just came aggressive as the Brazilian forward and was not expected to win the fight. It was close, and he got a split that I frankly thought Clay Collard should have won. These Brazilians, they know how to steal these splits, Charles. So just be aware,
so
man.
The thing is, this is championship rounds, and he won't be able to keep that pace. Even
Yes,
if
sir.
he does come out like that, I'm gonna eat his ass alive. So
He's never won
either
5
I
rounds.
finish him early, yeah. Either I finish him early or I finish him late. You know, it just depends on, you know, how I come out that first round, how I'm feeling, and how the fight goes. I have
Yes, sir.
game plan. If I'm able to make that game plan work in the first, second round, then he'll be out of there. But if I have more than one game plan, you know, so
Yes, sir.
and I know I have the lungs, so I just have to trust in him, you know.
Yep. I love it. I got all my questions. Brandon obviously was responsible for getting you on of MMA Wagers here, so I'll let him kind of finish out here, Charles. But thank you so much for working through the Wi-Fi and everything, joining us on Fight Week. You always got an invite here at Aaron the Dog MMA. I'm a newer channel, but I've been breaking down all the LFAs, all the Furies, all the CFFCs. I respect all the organizations up to the top here. So you always got an open invite here as the news continues to improve with each fight here. But I think that being an LFA champion is pretty damn cool. And for you to come on Fight Week, I'm seriously humbled by it, Charles. So thank you so much. Brandon, do you have any questions for Charles before we let him go?
Yeah, Charles, I got 3 questions, okay?
For sure. What's up?
All right, the first question, you versus Brandon Royval, how much did you learn from that fight, and did you expect Brandon Royval to be such a big name in the MMA atmosphere?
Yeah, I knew with his fight style, he's extremely exciting to watch because he's just wiry. You know, he's technical, but he fights wiry. Like, he's not technical, but he is technical. So I knew that he's just fun to watch, man. He comes out there ready to fucking bang. And, you know, like, what I learned from that fight the most was, you know, just go out there, be free, have fun. Because he told me after the fight, he was like, he told me he felt like I won the fight. And then he also told me, you know, that he was afraid of me because he saw me shadowboxing the day before in the parking lot. And he was like, I really didn't want to take this fight, bro. But, you know, and I told him, man, he was like, I feel like you won the fight. And I was like, nah, man, you won the fight, bro. He's like,
Great fight.
You did what you're supposed to do the first round. I feel like I won the fight too, but I can't take it away from you, bro. You did what you were supposed to do. And so we've had a mutual respect for each other ever since. You know, he likes my post. I like his post, you know. But when I see him, I do feel like, and
that could be you.
I told a good friend of mine, I was like, well, I ended up going to Thailand, but had I not gone to Thailand, I was like, I gave him juice. I gave him what should have been me, and which is what I'm doing now. And so now I get to follow in his footsteps. And all I see is when I see him having success, I see me having success. And so I take it as humbly as I can, and I try not to involve my ego because he is I respect the way he works, and I respect him as a martial artist and a person. So,
yes, sir, man. Like, that loss has only made your record look better because that's one of the best opponents in the UFC right now, and you might be able to run it back one day. Who knows? That's amazing to hear, man. Thanks for answering. The second question was the 49-45 decision. One judge had it 49-45 for you in the Yuma fight. What round do you think the 10-8 was? Was it the championship rounds?
Probably, because I was fucking him up. But that could have been the only round. Maybe he had me winning the nut shot round. I'm not sure.
There was
I feel
no
like
point
I
deduction,
felt
though,
like
right?
the nut shot round was a 9-9 round. So I feel like they would have gave him that round. I won the
Mhm.
first round because I heard him, even though he was just doing volume and I was responding. But I heard him in the first round. Third round was back and forth, but I was landing the better of everything. Fourth round, I shelled up the first 2 minutes. Then he eye poked me in the last 2 minutes. I beat his ass. So I don't know where they give him the fight, But
Yeah,
I feel
that was crazy.
I feel like the
Stupid
10-8 round.
judges, man. Where was that, anyways?
That was in Shawnee, Oklahoma.
Oh,
Okay.
Oklahoma. Okay. This is in St. Charles, and this was my last question. Are there going to be fans here? Because this crowd is going to erupt for you, Charles. I'm praying there are
Yeah.
fans, and even if there are limited fans, you got so much support in this area. You're gonna be a shining star. I know it.
Bro, it's gonna be lit as fuck, bro. I'm telling you
Yeah,
what.
there are tickets available,
just
so it
saying,
is.
I'm just saying, bro. I sold over 60 tickets for this fight, and
There you go. You better be getting a commission or something. Let's go, LFA.
It was like 2 weeks, no, 2 weeks before the fight, So it's like when my stuff got announced, and I didn't even have flyers out or anything. It's just for me making social media posts, So like,
That's what's up, man.
Here we go. I'm excited. It's been a few years, like 2016, since I fought in St. Louis, so I'm really excited. I got a lot of people coming out here, and the venue is perfect. It's gonna sound loud as fuck in there, so
Cannot wait.
It's gonna be great. So I'm excited, man.
Dude, I got goosebumps right now. I'm so pumped for Friday night. Like, just stay focused, man, and I'm so excited to watch you fight.
My friend Mondo Gutierrez was telling me, he was like, man, you couldn't write a better story, bro. You go away, you come back, you get on the win streak, and now you have a chance, defend your title, be your third fight in a row, possibly get a finish. What better way to win in front of your fans before going into the UFC? So he was like, you couldn't write a better story.
Yes, sir. I love it. I love it, man.
He gave me a lot of energy today after cutting my hair. He gave me a lot of positive words that, resonated with me, and I was like really appreciative of. So,
yeah, I love it. You got an excellent mindset. You got a championship attitude to you. I've really enjoyed a lot of my interviews I've gotten to have on this channel. This is my favorite one I've had so far, though.
Even without the video.
Yeah, so thank you for hustling through. We'll get you on video next time because we'll definitely have you on after your bout and everything like that. But you definitely got a fan here in Aaron the Dog, man. I'm sorry I doubted you against Yuma, but I paid for it. I paid for it. So it was I paid for it, and now I am a huge. I wasn't not a fan before, but. That's the biggest way I can become a fan of someone. I nothing but respect, Charles. You're welcome on the show anytime. We're going to be rooting for you on Friday. Safe rest of your weight cut and safe travels if you're still working your way to the fight. And thank you again for coming on, man. You got an open invite.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
We'll hit you up afterwards, Charles. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you so much, Charles. All right, InnerG. Peace out. Have a great day.
Peace, buddy.
Dude, what a cool dude. Awesome interview. Shout out to Brandon of MMA Wagers here for spotting that championship interview. We'll go. I was
timing too.
Yeah, we'll get into the main event here now. Bruno Souza is taking on. Let me just get over to it. Sorry, Bruno Souza. Let me bring it back up here. Is taking on Javier Garcia. Javier Garcia is taking this fight on short notice. It was going to be a very interesting featherweight title fight, and still is actually. But Javier Garcia, El Mariachi, 7-3, lightweight here. He's coming down to 140.
Replacing? Sorry.
He's replacing Kanan, the Hawaiian.
Wanahani or something. I think he was a Contender Series fighter.
Contender Series, and then beat Josh Childers in the last fight with that really impressive knockout after being off for a couple of years. That would have been a great fight. This is an interesting fight. Javier Garcia, 5'10", 69-inch reach for the 29-year-old. Fought his last fight at 150 pounds, so has been making his trek down to the featherweight division. But El Mariachi 7-3. It's coming off of, I believe, 3 straight wins. Let me just check. But yeah, 3 straight wins. Last fought in the LFA in April of this year, fighting out of CSW Combat Submission Wrestling, led by Eric Paulson. Triangle choked Timothy Tevez in that fight. Timothy Tevez, very good regional fighter, and was coming in that fight with quite a bit of momentum. I remember I actually picked Timothy Tevez. We both did, I believe.
No, I said I picked against AJ. I picked against Garcia versus AJ Cunningham, so I'm like, I'm not doing that again.
Oh, right, yeah, because I picked
Johnson.
Yeah, I picked Garcia against AJ Cunningham, and that was a fight where AJ Cunningham was a pretty significant favorite back in March of this year.
No, he was like plus 285 as an underdog versus AJ.
So yeah, that was a big underdog cash there. Then triangle choked Timothy Tevez in the 3rd round with about 11 seconds to go.
Turning some heads.
That was a really good fight, too, with Timothy Tevez. That was at catchweight bout. So before that, with AJ Cunningham, was at 145. So he's made 145 before. He's looked good. He's been submitted a couple times by Gabe Green and Reston Wilson. He also went to a decision with Arut Pogonsan. We saw how good Arut was a few weeks ago, I believe with CFFC or Fury. Yep. But either way, Javier Garcia, he's like a real scrapper, man. He looks to get in there, looks to get the grappling going, looks to get the clinch game going, get to the ground. His stand-up's not great. He's got some decent leg kicks, but otherwise the stand-up's not great. Bruno Souza is mini Machida, man. Doesn't have the power of Machida, but he does fight out of Machida's academy. 9-fight win streak. 9-fight win streak. I'm going to immediately go to the first fight I saw Souza in, though. That was against Mike Hamill
at
at
LFA 72. It's going to be a
72.
split decision, probably.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps the bunny split comes in. But at LFA 72, he took on Mike Hamill in his LFA debut. Mike Hamill beat Bruno Souza pillar to post in that fight for 3 rounds, and then Souza turned his head away, and Hamill hit Souza in the back of the head, I believe, 2 or 3 times. And they called it illegal blows and gave Souza the win. Souza took some serious damage in that fight. It caused me to doubt Souza in his next few fights because that was my introduction to Souza, was Mike Hamill. I didn't know who Mike Hamill was at that time. We have seen how good Mike Hamill is, so no real shame there. Bruno has definitely improved since that fight. Kamala Kirk, it was a split decision, but I don't think it was a split decision. I thought it was pretty clear. He was able to freeze Kirk with his movement, with his distance control, and then Kirk was able to get his back towards the end of the 3rd round. But besides that, it was pretty much Souza putting on a clinic. It's what Souza does in a lot of these fights. He just kind of puts on a clinic. Against Guillermo Santos, a 8-2 fighter, he was able to blitz him in the 2nd round. Just like
guy's really bad.
Yeah, he's really bad. But still, like he made him look bad too. It was 8-2 at the time. He blitzed him like the way Machida would blitz an opponent to put him away.
Randy Couture. Remember that Lyoto Randy Couture fight?
Yeah, it was just like elbows and punches. It was really impressive, and it's the first time I've actually seen power out of Bruno. But he just doesn't rely on the power. He relies on technique. He relies on discipline. He point fights, and he did it against Elijah Johns. The thing that he's risking is in these close fights, he's fighting a lot of splits. In fights I frankly think should be unanimous decisions, but it's the way he fights. It's just not that impressive.
Hands down, right?
Hands down and just not a lot of power. It looks like, it's like, it doesn't
Green style.
But he's controlling his opponents. I mean, it's like a Machida without power. That's really how he fights.
Yeah.
A Machida without power with better grappling, which is a pretty good fighter, frankly. It may sound like I'm trying to insult. I'm not, but this is a really good fight. Kanan Kawahi was going to be a way better test here.
Yeah.
And I still would like to see that fight, frankly. Javier Garcia is a scrapper, man. I can't count him out completely, but I got to go with Souza here. I think Souza is going to be prepared. The takedown defense, it's very hard to take him down with that karate stance, with his movement, with his ability to mix in body, teep, front kicks, and has good, just an overall good MMA game. So I got to go Bruno Souza here. But in 5 rounds, he should be able to show he's convincingly won at least 3 of them. But I think Javier Garcia has to go in there and go for the gusto. I don't think he's going to win a decision here, but get it down and try to make something happen. But I gotta go with Souza here. Souza's just really good. I don't think that Javier can do what Mike Hamill did to Souza either. Like that was So I gotta go
Bruno
Souza.
Silva has definitely faced the better opposition.
Bruno Souza.
Bruno Souza, I thought. No, is it?
Oh, I thought you said Silva.
Oh, no, Bruno Souza or whatever. Yeah, I think he's definitely faced the better opposition. A lot of notable names. Yeah. Surprisingly, neither of these guys are from St. Louis, and it's the main event. So that's kind of maybe half the crowd will be gone by then.
Yeah, Charles Johnson's the real main event.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm so hyped after doing that interview with Charles Johnson, and I'm definitely I was on the just on the brink. Like, I don't know who to pick in that fight, but I'm definitely going Charles Johnson now. Everything I knew about him just came into fruition when I talked to him, and I think it's the real deal. But back to this fight, Javier Garcia coming in short notice. He's definitely a worthy opponent. He deserves this opportunity. Who was the former bantamweight champion? Or is this featherweight? Sorry, featherweight. Yeah, maybe Miles Johns was the last one, or
I'm not sure.
This is the like neither of them are defending their title. It's a brand new belt.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, I gotta go Bruno Souza as well, but like you said, you can't count out this. He looks like a Mexican, but he's from America. I think he's got some South American roots.
He's El Mariachi. He's El Mariachi. He very well may be Mexican.
Yeah, and you just can never count the heart of those South Americans out. A lot to fight for, and Javier taking this on short notice. This is going to fuck up Bruno Souza's game plan as well. He was supposed to be fighting this Hawaiian, a totally different opponent, stylistically as well. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting fight. I don't know the odds, but I'm going to lean Bruno Souza by a split decision. Let's go, Bunny Special.
Yep, the Bunny Special, minus 240 for Bruno here, plus 190, about what I expected. Maybe a little bit heavier, but Bruno's been around the LFA for a while now. He's been a prospect since he's been out here, and I get there's a couple splits there, which leads people to believe those are disappointing performances. I just think that's judges not quite understand. He's got to win on the judges' scorecards here. I do think most likely that's where it goes. Javier Garcia, if he's successful on those takedowns early, this could be a very long night for Souza, though. But yeah, I like Souza here. You can finish with those last four favorites, in my opinion, for a four-piece parlay. But before we take off, we're going to do our quick picks here. And then, we'll call it a day. It's been a pretty solid breakdown here, but
I just got to call the mechanic, Aaron. Do you want to just do the quick picks? I'll hit you up after.
We'll just do them we'll literally do them right now.
Hey, Kev, I got to go.
Yep.
Thank you, though, Aaron.
Yep, we'll see you later. So Brandon will be taking off here. He's got to take care of his mechanic. But, quick picks here for me. Starting from the Colin Parr, Raheem Forrest fight up. Colin Parr is my pick there. Ira Lukowski with the underdog pick against Alex Macias. Dan Moriarty taking Joey Scanlon and just being the stronger opponent. I got William Starks, odds not available yet. Benjamin Bennett is my second underdog here by decision. Joseph Holmes, I like quite a bit. One of my favorites on the card. Jimmy Lawson, very confident over Anthony Garrett. Charles Johnson, also confident on that one. Joseph Holmes, Lawson, and Charles Johnson together works out perfectly. And finishing with Bruno Souza, I have a couple underdogs on this, but it does look like the favorites are going to be coming through. But that will do it. Brandon did have to take off a little bit early here. But I want to thank everybody who's joining me live. First of all, you guys are all savages. I appreciate you all. Raul, Sabrina, Taj, everybody else who's joining us. Shout out to Bunny, as always, because the channel wouldn't exist without her. Shout out to the InnerG, Charles Johnson, for coming on, providing us with some fantastic Just fantastic answers, really good head on his shoulders, very confident, and always cool to check out a fighter. So go ahead and check that out. Timestamps will be put up shortly. I will be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Time with Boston Comments herself, Bunny, for the breakdown of the UFC this weekend, headlined by Giga Chikadze versus Edson Barboza. And, of course, my old and my still UFC co-host taking a couple weeks off, Brian Pooh Bear Battle, is fighting in the middleweight championship of the world. And he's fighting for the Ultimate Fighter, taking on Gilbert Urbina. He's about to get that contract. And then, of course, Ricky Turcio versus Brady Heistad. Definitely a ton of fights. But, yeah, we'll see you tomorrow, Brandon, for sure. But for Aaron the Dog, for Brandon of MMA Wagers, for Charles Johnson, for Bunny, Boston Comments, everybody else, I am out, everybody. Keep taking care of each other out there. Cash those bets, and peace out. Goodbye.